And Nathan, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about Best Living Systems because the product that we're talking about tonight is actually available in the store.
It sure is. It sure is. We have a lot of different selections, a lot of different colors of the microfiber that we'll be talking about. And so we'll have, you can get a 12 pack if you just want to try out a small number. You can get larger numbers of packs. I'm sure Dave will be explaining how to use all of that the most effective way tonight. I am looking forward to hearing you, Dave, and hearing this. My wife's had microfiber in our house for years, and we probably have never used it correctly. So this will be great. This will be great. But on top of that, yes, we do have all the microfiber stuff available. We also, this month, we're extending our sale on our HVAC filters. And so these are the filters that go in your HVAC units. We sell them in packs of 4. And we've just got several sizes that we decided to put on great sale. And so go check out our air filters on blsproducts.com and see if your size is there and how discounted your size might be this month. And grab them. These are just incredibly good quality filters. They have an antimicrobial sprayed on one side of them, so it's killing anything that might be alive that gets trapped. And it's the cloth goes out to the edges and make sure there's no blow by, that we're capturing everything that's coming through, keeping your air conditioner clean and your air clean. And it's a 90-day filter, so one pack lasts an entire year. So just go check that out.
Yeah, thank you, Nathan. So I'll just say if you're listening tonight and you're a retail customer and you go to blsproducts.com, you're going to see those filters and you can buy them by subscription. Imagine this, having a filter sent to you on an annual basis, dropped off at your house. Don't even have to go to Lowe's or Walmart and try to figure out where those filters are or decide between all the 16 different types they're selling. It's a very, very simple process. If you're a retail customer, you definitely want to get involved in that subscription program. And if you're a wholesaler or distributor, let me tell you something. This is like low-hanging fruit. Do you know how many people in your neighborhood buy 1-inch filters? Tons. And so it's a very easy product to represent to your clients, existing clients, and to get some new clients as well. Talking about 1-inch filters. I have threatened Nathan to stand at Lowe's with a card and hand out cards. You don't want to buy that lousy pleated filter. This is what you need. But I'm afraid I'd get arrested. So, and I couldn't afford the bond. So I haven't done it. But I've thought about it. And if you haven't tried it, you definitely need to try it because it's a great filter and it works really, really well. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so let me tell you why I'm really excited. So a few years ago, Dave Maurer was part of the group that we put together, if you remember correctly, through the OSHA grant that we received with Dr. Gavin and ISSA. We put together a cleaning for health class, and Dave was a part of that group. That was one of the trainers. And so we got to know each other a little bit. But the thing that I really was excited about was when he and I started talking about microfiber, because I realized how I knew nothing about it. And he started talking to me, and so we were on a Zoom call, I think is what it was, because I remember him showing me some slides and explaining how microfiber works and the difference between the microfiber that he sells, the microfiber that you would find at Walmart, microfiber that we'd find that would be throwaway stuff. And I'm sitting there and I'm amazed. It's like I had no idea that there was so much to know about microfiber. So recently, as we've been doing our NCRSI training and doing more of it, fine particle cleanup is one of the most important things that we do in our business. And we are in the cleaning industry, there's no doubt about it. So to be able to have a resource like Dave, to be able to tell us about the microfiber that's out there, how to use it correctly, how to not use it, that kind of thing is something that all of us need. And so I'm so thankful, Dave, that you were able to carve out some time tonight in your schedule to be able to talk with us a little bit tonight about microfiber and to train us. I sent out a text to everyone, and I think you'll agree with this. I said, if you're using microfiber improperly, you're just using another rag.
It's true.
And so I'm really glad to have you here. I'm going to introduce you as Dave Maurer, not only a colleague, but a really good friend. And I'm just going to ask you, if you could, to let your light shine a little bit, tell them who you are, your background, and why we should even listen to you tonight.
Okay, sure. Well, first of all, thank you, Doug, and the whole team for allowing me to talk about microfiber. I've been dealing in microfiber for 25 plus years. I lose track of time, but
Yeah, wow.
just in general, I'm an engineer by trade. So I've been developing fibers and different products around microfiber. So I have a passion for it. And the team went through COVID together with OSHA, and as Doug mentions, with GBAC, we all learned a lot about particulate matter. The filtration conversation is a great lead into microfiber because I'm going to talk about air quality. And it's a really key part of what we're doing to keep a facility clean. Not just from remediation, but just continuing to keep the facility from not getting more bacteria. You
Right.
can go in and clean it up and make it look pretty, but if it's just building up again, yeah, you're going to come back and do the work again.
Right.
But you want to have continuing work of just keeping a facility clean. And it's a lot about what we talk about. It's really about what that OSHA program, Cleaning for Health, was about, is what is clean. And we're trying to figure out through COVID, well, we thought we knew what clean was, but now we have all this particulate matter that's carrying these germs around. And those that have gone through the GBAC class, you'll realize that this phone is the dirtiest thing that we touch. We come in contact, as Gavin does so well to explain that.
Yeah, for sure.
But in any event, I'm going to share a presentation that I have, and feel free to either put in comments. And Doug, I don't know if I can see the comments or if you want to relay them, or if
Yeah,
people
we'll keep track of that for you. We'll keep track of that for you.
Yeah, but feel free to jump in and ask questions. Okay.
Good. Yeah, that's good. I can see it.
We'll get this on full screen. Okay. You guys can see that?
Yes, sir. That's great.
All right, excellent. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out. As I mentioned, I'm an engineer. I've developed a lot of products in the cleaning industry. I really had a passion starting in high school of patenting products. So I got my first patent when I was in high school, just like 3 or 4 years ago. And a few more after that, as we've come through COVID, but ironically, the first products in the industry, I think that really made a difference was when the swine flu started, which I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. I lose track of time. But we developed a product to clean tabletops and desks, and mostly in schools, because at the time, the swine flu is, derivative of COVID essentially, but it just wasn't spread as much airborne as COVID-19 is. But we developed a product to clean a classroom in minutes, where they were shutting down an entire school when one person got the swine flu. So that has really evolved, and we'll talk about some of that tonight in different products for the cleaning world. So we're going to talk about these 5 categories. What is microfiber? We call it the E-Wave intelligent fiber. 5D clean, you'll see this a lot in my presentation. And we'll talk about what is 5D clean, because we want to look at all around us. And this really gets into the particulate matter and the mold that you guys deal with so much. What are some products that you can use to best clean in 5D? Some ROI on cost calculators. We won't spend a lot of time on this, but just to know these things are available. We deal a lot with contractors, and Doug and I have talked about this, of what are building service contractors looking for. Because as we develop training, of course, we want to have training that best fits the needs, not just what the market's dictating, but how can we provide products, both training wise and physical products, to the people like all of you on this presentation or this webinar that are looking for. What can I do to better expand my business? We'll talk a little bit about that. Innovation centers, this is all about what NORMI is, training. CPI has been about training for a long time. We just train more on the cleaning side, not in depth as much as NORMI goes into. All right, so what is microfiber? We're going to talk about the main things of what separates microfiber. What is it? An intelligent fiber, what's the difference between an intelligent microfiber and just the standard one you would buy at Lowe's or Walmart? And what are the benefits of me using a fiber that has different intelligent fibers in it? Why E-Wave is mentioned, that's what we call our intelligent fiber. And why do I want to clean in 5 dimensions? Okay, so the first is, a lot of people don't realize what microfiber is. A golf shirt, I'm wearing a shirt here, a golf shirt, that is made out of microfiber. And microfiber is a plastic material. And Nike, probably the most famous one, when they came out with what they trademarked, Dry Fit, and they promoted this type of golf shirt to golfers. And of course, they're outside and there's a breeze blowing. And the difference of a cotton shirt and a microfiber shirt is, with microfiber, when you sweat, it stays on the outside of the fiber because the shirt is plastic, and plastic cannot absorb. Where cotton, we all know what cotton does, it absorbs our sweat into it. And even after we wash a cotton shirt, we still have the stains, and it's very difficult to get out. And that's because the properties of cotton, once the liquid absorbs into a fiber, you have to train that to release it. And that's done with certain detergents. Obviously, bleach does some of that, but bleach is more masking it, changes the color of cotton, doesn't really release what's in there. That's why, like in a mop, a cotton mop, that's why it stinks, because you can't get all of the materials out of cotton. It's inside the fiber. And microfiber is on the outside. So that's why golf shirts, again, what we're developed is the sweat stays on the outside. And as we're walking outside, the breeze blows, it stays dry because the sweat's not going inside the fiber. So the same thing for couches. You've seen microfiber couches. And some people ask me, yeah, I have a microfiber couch. It had this sign on it when I bought it. It said microfiber material, but it doesn't feel anything like your microfiber cloth or any microfiber cloth. So what gives here? Well, microfiber fabric, when we use it in textiles for furniture, golf shirts, pants, whatever type of clothing, that fiber is just a small strand of plastic material. And they're making thousands, millions of fibers together to make a sofa, to make a shirt. And I'll explain in a second what the main difference is. But in quick terminology, we don't split a fiber that is for non-cleaning. So a couch, this shirt, golf shirts are very smooth when you feel them, as opposed to any microfiber, you touch it and it picks into the pores of your skin. That's because microfiber, for the cleaning world, we split that fiber. That's really the main difference between a couch and a golf shirt or a cleaning microfiber. Cleaning microfiber is split, and that's why you feel the kind of like a Velcro type of feeling. So this is a blown up microfiber. So to give you an idea of how small microfiber is, one microfiber is 1/100th the size of a human hair. So those that have some hair, pull it out. And if you can picture one hair split into 100 pieces, that's one microfiber, okay? And it's defined as 1 denier. So in the textile world, we measure things by denier because they're so microscopic. You know, we can't say it's 0.00001 millimeter. That's pretty small. So a denier is, again, 1/100th the size of a human hair. It's how we measure one fiber. This cloth has millions of fibers in it. As you can imagine, we have to wind those together. So this blue line right here is one microfiber. And the blown up grayish thing is a human hair. Okay, so it gives you an idea of the size. That blue little thread is one microfiber. You can't see it with a human eye, compared to the big gray width there is one human hair. Okay, so gives you an idea of what we're talking about. Very small pieces that we're dealing with. So why would we want to split a fiber? And you've probably seen this type of picture or diagram on the left in trade magazines and so forth. And you see these kind of sharp corners. When we split a fiber, and this is a cross section of one fiber, if we're looking straight down the fiber, cutting a cross section of it. When we split that fiber, it balloons out into, generally speaking, 16 pieces. And again, this is 1/100th the size of a human hair, this piece right here on the left. And we split it, it looks like this under a microscope. When we split it, it creates a bunch of little fibers that can then grab debris, particle matter, and chemical or water. That's how microfiber holds water, as opposed to my golf shirt that doesn't hold water because it's not split. Okay, so these little splits create these sharp edges, and that's what we feel when we rub our hands across the cloth, okay, is those splits. On the right is a cotton cross-section of a cotton fiber, okay? So you can see these particulate matters are going inside the cotton. And as I mentioned earlier, this is why it's so difficult to get cotton clean. It's why it discolors so easily, because when we spill something on it, it goes into the fiber. The fiber has its own properties that's grabbing that material, like wine doesn't come out because of the makeup of what's in wine. Water, H2O, comes out a lot easier with cotton. But when you get bacteria, like our sweat, good and bad bacteria gets into those fibers and it doesn't come out. And of course, you know, then we know that's a problem. So here's a real picture under a microscope of a split. And on the left-hand side, you see there's two types of fibers. There's a star in the middle. And again, this is what this blue is representing. And the outer pieces, kind of the triangle pieces, is a different material. Generally speaking, we use two types of material to make microfiber, a polyester material and a polyamide material. Okay, polyamide was the first type of plastic that we used. It comes from the nylon family. It was very easy to split. And we split this with, used to be mechanical action, you know, 25 years ago. Today we split it chemically. So if we take that one fiber, again, 1/100th the size of a human hair, that one fiber goes through a chemical process and it splits. Okay, it balloons up like a cornstalk. So it's not just the end of the fiber. We take that whole fiber and all the way down that fiber is split. Okay, and the end of it looks like this. And if you go down the fiber is where you have the sharp edges, as you can see in this picture on the left. So on the right is a microscope view of just strands of a microfiber. You know, these little pieces are still thousands of little pieces wound together like a rope, but we can't see that with the human eye, but that's what's happening behind these little pieces. So what makes our fiber different? You can buy microfiber everywhere. You know, we've seen it on the marketplace in the US, you know, roughly 15 years, and in Europe, you know, about 25 years. We take our fiber to another level and we split it 3 times. Now, some people think about and ask me, why would you want to split it 3 times? Who cares? You know, we already said you split it, and we get these little fingers, and that's going to grab either particulate matter or chemical, which it does. But the more you split it, the more that fiber can pick up. So just splitting it 3 times, you know, is not as easy as it sounds. It's a trade secret how we do it, because we don't want to patent it and have other people figure out how we do it. You don't just split the fiber over and over again. They would get too thin. These 1/100th the size of a human hair, and we split that into these 16 little sections. And now each of those little 16 sections, you would split again, and then you would take that and split it another time. So you have 16 to the 3rd power, if you will. That's a very, very microscopic fiber, which falls apart. You know, it doesn't have enough strength to hold itself together. So we do it in a different way of just chemically splitting it. But our fibers feel different. If you had a cloth in front of you, you would feel it. In our classes, we do this because it is a very different type of fiber. And the reason we do it is we're able to pick up more material. And that material can be bacterias, could be water, could be just stuff that's coming through the HVAC system, regular particulate matter dust. But the more fingers that we have out there that are grabbing into the pores of our surface, the better chance we have of having a cleaner surface. Okay, so that's why we do it, and we call it trio split. So these, you'll find I get ahead of myself in talking about these things, but now here's some of the things that benefit of trio split. Debris channels, and we have pictures of each of these, so I'll go through these very quickly and then we'll look in detail. Keeps the trio split intact. It allows our shrinkage rate to be small and keep it very consistent. Long lives, we guarantee our products for 1,000 launderings, which if you used it every day, you know, roughly that's 3 years. No fraying of the fibers, because the way that we wind them together, you're not going to get all these fraying pieces on the ends, and they don't balloon. So again, we'll look at some pictures of that in a second. One of the most, I'll say the #1 benefit, especially coming out of COVID, that we found from our fibers is they remove 99.9% bacteria. Okay, so that's just dry with no chemicals. So, and this is one of the things Gavin does in his class. If you wiped your phone, and first we use an ATP meter on this, and we see that this is a number that we don't want to know what it is, but I'll just say 4 digits. And we wipe this just once with the trio split cloth. And this number on the ATP meter goes down to roughly 50, just by one wipe. And that's showing you the 99.9% bacteria removal rate. Now, in that bacteria could be good or bad bacterias, could be just particulate matter from our skin. We don't know what the actual matter is, but the fact is we're removing it. And in the cleaning world, that's what we're trying to do, is we want to remove the bad stuff and the good stuff. Whatever looks dirty, but some of it we can't see. Bacteria, we can't see them unless they're on a big clump. A lot of stuff you guys remove, you can see a lot of it. Mold remuneration. But it's the little things that we're worried about because, as you guys all know, bacteria keeps growing. And if we don't remove it, it becomes a big problem and just multiplies very rapidly. So it's the key part of 5D cleaning, why we really teach to clean all around us. And we'll go into that in a little bit. But this is third-party certified with these standards to remove 99.9% bacteria. And that's with all of our microfibers. Okay, so here's some of the pictures just showing what the difference is in the product. So trio split, I talked about debris channels. These are the rows that you see in this picture. And if I pick up one of our mops, what we want to do is maintain these channels in our, either this is a hand trowel or if we're using the size for a floor. The reason being is this is a 1-inch long strands of microfiber, and all the way up and down that strand is this trio split microfiber. So we want the whole fiber to pick up when we're wiping over a surface, not just the surface of the microfiber. You know, if we have a mop like this or a pad, this is for glass, we're only cleaning on the surface. But with glass, we don't clean a lot of dirt. We're really cleaning up grease and handprints and streaks from the mirror. So we don't need a lot of material like we do on this one. So the importance of debris channels, it allows this mop to go further because a lot of the dirt is going in these channels. Again, not just on the surface of the mop. So what we call quad stitch in the textile world, you can pull any of these loops and it's not going to pull out. What the quad stitch does is it grabs both ends of the loop, sews it to our backing material. So these loops are not going to be able to pull apart. So you have some loops on some mops, you just pull the loop out and you get a 2-inch long loop because it pulled through the other side. Where ours, these are going to stay intact. It's one reason why we can guarantee these for 1,000 launderings. And this mop, after 1,000 launderings, is still going to look like this. And people are amazed at this, but we have facilities using these mops for 5 years plus. And again, they still look like this. So if you follow the right cleaning procedures. So the next is mesh backing. One of the key things in mops is, and your camera didn't change, I changed colors, is cleaning out this fiber. Because we grab so much and the trio split grabs particulate matter, it's more difficult to get out because we have more things in these all little Velcro things, if you will. So we put mesh backing in our pads. And the reason that we do that is as this is going through a wash cycle and is tumbling around, the water can come through the backing and push out this side, and vice versa. It can push through here and come out the mesh backing. So we want this to be as free as it can for solution to get through it. Okay, that's the most important thing because we want to make sure when we're reusing this that all the particulate matter is out of it. So now we're using a clean mop the next time we use it. The other unique thing about the mesh backing is we pre-treat our mops. So we stack these up in a bucket, and you know we can put however many, 24 in one bucket, and then we use this dilution bucket and we pour the solution over the top of the mesh. And that solution goes right through the mesh and goes to the bottom microfiber and gets all of the mops in here wet. So we pre-treat just like we have a bottle of wet ones and baby wipes, whatever type of ones you're used to. We can pre-treat those on site. So we start with dry mops. You can pre-treat it with whatever type of solution you want to use. If you're trying to kill bacteria, obviously you can use a disinfectant, but that allows you to use any type of chemical in our mops. So this is ballooning. This is a mop, an example of ballooning. What we don't want to happen is these debris channels to close. So the way that we wind our fibers together, they stay looking like this. Other mops look like this yellow one because they don't wind their mops the way that we do. Again, that's part of the trade secret. And the mops that balloon up like this, they're not able to clean down these debris channels. So you end up with a really thick mop that essentially is just like the glass one. We're only picking up on the surface, and we're not allowing dirt to get down into all of the fiber. So that's why we don't want ballooning, and we want to keep these channels nice and open so we can get the more particulate matter in there. So we don't put foam in our products. You know, foam is bad. That's just the quick answer. We don't want to have foam because foam is a hibernation point for bacteria. And when you put foam in between, as these cutaways show, we have a backing material, and then on the bottom we have a microfiber material, and in the middle is foam. We can't get the bacteria out of that foam. They get sandwiched in between microfiber and backing material. We can kill them by using hot water and some chemicals that get in there, and they may kill the bacteria, but some of the bacteria are gonna get into the seams and they're gonna hibernate inside of there. And when we then put more water in these mops to use them again, the bacteria is activated and it starts spreading inside the mop. And now you're cleaning your floor or your walls with a mop that is just spreading bacteria around. So that's why you don't want to use something that has foam in it, because foam is just bad. It's hard to get stuff out of it. The reason they put foam, some suppliers, is it holds more solution, and they're only splitting their fiber once, so they're not getting as much chemical that's going into the fiber, into all these splits. So they use foam to use more solution, and it allows you to go further, so you don't have to go back to the bucket for retreating another mop or wringing out another mop. That's why they use foam, because it helps you go further and gives you more productivity. But it's not good for bacteria and keeping areas clean. So in the laundering process, one of these is, I would say when we're in a class, this is the most shocking part to some people of how to launder microfiber. Because most people, as Doug said in the beginning, we all use microfiber over the years, and we just throw it in with our laundry and clean it. And then you can clean your wife can clean the counter, you can clean your counter, whatever, with this fiber that you've just cleaned with your jeans and towels. The problem of putting microfiber in with other product that is non-microfiber, towels are the worst because they lint a lot, but other fibers shed. You know, they provide lint, as we see in the dryer. We pull out the vent and it's full of lint. Microfiber doesn't lint, it's plastic. Okay, if you have foam in your microfiber, that will come out over time. Typically, these mops last 30 to 50 launderings before the foam is 80% gone. So it doesn't just magically disappear, it comes out in the laundry. Okay, so when it comes out, other products are picking it up, like microfiber. And a good test of this, especially with our trio split microfiber, put this in your dryer, one of our towels, it's trio split, and I guarantee you, I'll bet everything I have, 100% of the time, this is wrapped around your bounce sheet in your dryer. Okay, and that's the power of the trio split, but it also shows number one here of no fabric softeners. The reason we don't want to use fabric softener in microfiber in the wash side, so liquid fabric softener, is they have an opposite charge. So they like each other. And fabric softener is going to attach itself to the split of the microfiber. And it's very difficult to get it out. You know, we make a product that helps neutralize it, but does not 100% neutralize it. That fabric softener, some portion of it will always be in microfiber. Okay, so you don't want to use fabric softener. And again, if you want to test this theory, put a bounce sheet in your dryer, and 100% of the time the towel will be wrapped around very tightly like a tennis ball inside the dryer. Now, a bounce sheet doesn't really hurt this because it's not liquid. Okay, you might get some fabric softener on the surface, but it shows you the attraction of fabric softener, but two, how microfiber grabs. And we don't want it grabbing lints in the dry side of washing. So heat, we don't want to use high heat. What high heat is going to do is fuse together the splits of the fiber. More so when we have trio split, because we have finer splits, because we're gathering more type of materials into the pores of the surface. So basically high heat is 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. I'll just say our home washers are never going to get that hot. So you don't have to worry about any setting on your home washer or dryer are not capable of going above anything that's going to hurt a microfiber. In commercial world, they can go way above it because they wash quilts, towels, and they do very high heat for those for obvious reason. They want to kill bacteria that's in those. So that's a key one for microfiber. I talked about number 3, only wash microfiber with other microfiber. You can combine anything of microfiber, mops, cloth, any type of microfiber together is great, but do not put anything that's non-microfiber, towels, your regular clothing, in with this type of product. A lot of people ask about bleach, and can I use bleach? A little bit of bleach is not bad for microfiber. If you want to pop a color back in something because you picked up a lot of grease, it's fine to use bleach. If you use bleach in every single cycle, it's going to do the same thing that it does to your clothing. It's going to start deteriorating the stitching of a fiber or of a product. So the microfiber stitching is not microfiber. Okay, it's made of a nylon type material, so it doesn't linse, but it's not split because going through a needle and sewing it together, it still needs to be smooth. Okay, so bleach will affect the stitching that holds the microfiber together. So these stitches, inside the rows in here, it'll start deteriorating that stitch, and you will not get 1,000 launderings because you'll start breaking apart that stitching if you're using bleach on a regular basis. Again, if you use bleach once a week, you're not going to see an effect of it. And again, don't use a high concentration of it. So what are some systems of healthy cleaning? I refer to 5D cleaning. These are the 5Ds. Okay, so the first is ceilings. And we're always cleaning top down when we're cleaning a regular facility. This does not pertain to mold remediation. So I'm just talking general cleaning of in this case, this picture of a school. So we want to clean the ceilings and anything that's on the ceilings, fans, vents, projectors. The reason that we want to clean these on a regular basis, and it's not every day we have to clean the top of a projector or a ceiling fan, but the HVAC is pushing across these items. So as particulate matter is sitting on top of a fan or a pipe in this picture, it's going to keep pushing that particulate matter back onto the floor, or in the air that'll settle onto the floor. We don't know what's in that particulate matter. Johnny could have walked by, sneezed, and that's airborne, and it ends up sitting on the vent, and he may have a cold or COVID or whatever it is, some type of an illness. And when the HVAC kicks on, it's going to push that particulate matter back into the air, settle onto a desk, and someone else touches it and picks it up. So we want to remove those particulate matters to keep them as clean as we can. So when the HVAC is circulating, we have the best chance to not have bad particulate matter in the facility. And this is the importance, like you guys were talking about in the very beginning with filtration system. As much as we can to prevent bad particulate matter from circulating around a facility is going to help every aspect of cleaning. Your routine cleaning daily, it's going to prevent from heavy project work of collecting a lot of dust on these pipes. It's going to prevent mold remediation having to be done as often, because again, we just don't have as much particulate matter moving into these nooks and crannies. Okay, so that's the importance of 1D. 2D is basically what's between the ceiling and the floor. Mostly desks, tabletops, chairs, high touch points. These things we want to hit every day. High touch points, light switches, doorknobs, things that are being touched by the general public, students, faculty, whatever facility we're in. These we want to hit every single day. So again, we're removing the particulate matter that could be bad, that is going to spread later. The third is the floors and baseboards. So this is what we used to only clean. When you think back, way before COVID, we were only cleaning the floor because we just wanted the facility to look nice, and are, generally speaking, the public's trained, if the floor is clean, that facility is clean. And it used to be high shine meant, hey, this is a really clean facility. Nowadays, we're in a lot of concrete, so it's a very dull type of thing. So we want to make sure we're cleaning the floors. The fourth D is the air. All of these things add up to, we want to take this particulate matter out of the building. So we want it to collect in our mops and not spread it. A good example is we clean off a ceiling fan, and if we push half the stuff back into the air and the other half we get in our feather duster, we didn't do a good job, because the other half is just going to be airborne. It's going to settle back down onto the desk, onto the floor, and every day we're just cleaning the same stuff that we're pushing around. Okay, so again, these the 50 that I didn't mention in the picture, but is the person. We added the 50 during COVID, because we needed to look at how do we protect the worker, not just from PPE type of stuff, gloves, obviously, but this product is a trowel. We hold it without touching the microfiber in the cleaning side. So this is an example of something for the worker that we're looking at to make things better. So example of, I just lost. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, it was just my screen that popped off. So these are just some pictures, and I'll start rifling through some of these. I know we're coming up on the hour, because the beef of what I wanted to talk about, we've talked about, and these will just be some examples of product. But you can see high dusting here, air quality. Of course, NORMI, does a great job in both measuring, which is key. We want to see what's in the air, and providing product that's going to help filtrate that air. So now we're just going to look through some products. And again, these are some pictures on the website that you guys can see from NORMI. This is an example of the floor mop, and same as that's on the hand trowel. This is our evolution of the floor mop. We first developed the looped mop, and then we went into trio split, where we eliminated ballooning, and then we went into the mesh backing of where we are today with E-Wave. regarding the handheld stuff, we had a trowel with Velcro on it. This trowel now has a pocket system, so we can just pull this tab and that's removed without, again, touching the bad stuff that could be on this fiber. And we're holding a clean handle without having to touch bacterias. And that's that product there. This is a patented item. We also have the same version that you can put on a handle like a doodlebug. One thing about this product of the trowel, it has a black light on it. So Doug, hold up your phone. Let's see. Is it past the test?
Nothing on it. I'm good.
This is one we do in the class to see.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about this is you and your workers can do their own testing. After you clean an area, you can use the black light to hit one of your touch points. So the different types of, I mentioned this earlier, this product that's looped is 99% of what we use. But when we're cleaning glass, we use a product with less fiber on it. We have a product for showers that the dark blue is a polyester, helps loosen up the stuff in like soap scum. And then this product is more for desks and painted walls. So it's just has less fiber. And the reason you want less fiber is so you don't have as much solution. So for on a painted wall, we don't want the drippage down the paint. So we have cart systems to put this stuff on. We've all seen that bucket on the right. We don't like that. We want to pre-treat. Okay, so one of these systems is for one worker. And we have buckets that are divided buckets. And again, these are microfiber as opposed to cotton. Finished systems. This dust mop is used dry, of course, and we have a product called a mop dock that you hook up to your vacuum and you run your mop across that metal grate in the middle. And this is great for air quality. So your bad stuff's going in your vacuum. If you're in an area that you're picking up mold, use a vacuum with HEPA filtration on it, and that's going to go inside the vacuum as opposed to around the building. So again, you're picking up with trio split, you're picking up 99.9 dry, and then you can vacuum it up with this product. So we have a small washer. Use any washer. This one really is designed for small spaces. You can see here it's 22 by 22. It's designed to fit in a janitor's closet. So it's fully automatic. So those facilities that don't have a lot of space, this is an option for them. Otherwise, if you have a lot of space, buy a washer at Home Depot. Does the same thing. This is our pre-treat process. I mentioned about this bucket. You fill step one, you fill your bucket with your product. So you're putting the number of microfiber that you want to pre-treat. And then on this label is numbers, and you just fill it up to the number of products. So if I put in 10 of these, I fill it up to number 10 with whatever chemical you're using and pour that over the mops. And the different numbers are for cloth, mops, and trowel pads. So it just makes it really easy. Cost calculators, as I mentioned, we won't go over these in detail, but just a quick one. I mentioned about schools. We can fully clean a traditional classroom in 16 minutes, or it takes 40 minutes to do everything in a classroom or a bathroom. Actually, this example is a bathroom, sorry. So this is 5D, ceiling to floor, cleaning everything. Okay, so it just gives you an idea how much more productive we can be with these types of products. So you can see on the right a cotton mop and the evolution to where we are with the E-Wave. These are some cost analysis. What we look at is you can pay $15 for this cotton mop on the left. You can pay $4 for one, but it's all about how many laundries you can get out of this. From 30 to 100 to 1,000. and we look at cost per use. So like anything, just like you buy NORMI products that are high quality, you want them to last. You don't want to buy something that you're gonna have to replace every 3 months or even every year. You want a good manufacturer that it's gonna last a long time, and you're not continuing to buy those products. So just example again of a cost calculator, which I can, Doug, send these to you or whoever has a question about them. They're
Great.
self-explanatory. So we also want to prevent slips and falls. So one thing about microfiber is we get a consistent amount of fiber or solution, sorry, that comes out of the fiber, as opposed to a bucket and wringer. That's dependent on how hard you wring out the mop. By pre-treating, we get the exact same results every single time. So innovation centers, you guys know all about this with what you do with NORMI. We also provide certifications. We've done some classes with NORMI in conjunction with them. So just some pictures of facilities where Doug and I have been together many times. And we're happy to come to you. As I mentioned, we do a lot of building service contractor training. So if you want us to train your team just on microfiber and teach them the benefits of microfiber and 5-dimensional cleaning just from a daily cleaning, again, not heavy duty cleaning like you go through with mold remediation, but just daily cleaning like the OSHA program went through. Happy to do that in tandem with one of the NORMI classes. So that's what I have. Any questions from you guys?
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm telling you what, man, it's amazing how much you know about this triple trio split. I think that's really fascinating. I'm wondering if there are any questions out there. Anybody have a question? I know Skip was listening closely. We talk a lot about microfiber in our advanced classes. We don't talk so much about it about just everyday cleaning, but I think the idea of using this in our homes is really enticing.
Yeah, this is absolutely fascinating. Part of what we recommend in our biotoxin decontamination is fine particle cleaning. And in many instances, these houses do not have, chia pets growing on walls, etc.
Right.
The amount of particulate that you can pull off of a surface, technique dependent, but with the right product, this can foster and facilitate far more effective fine particle cleaning by using it dry and then with liquid and then hitting it again with a dry application. It's just fascinating. I mean, I heard stories about, well, you can't put microfiber cloths in the laundry with your favorite Tide and make it all sudsy and so on and so forth, because you end up with any other rag. This is high-tech stuff. It's fascinating, and I very appreciate this presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Steve Sanford asked about where you can get these products. We have, of course, microfiber in the Best Living Systems. We just started carrying these products, and if there's anything that you might want to talk with Nathan about this, but if there's anything that you see that you want, we have access to all of these products Dave talked about. We just don't stock them right now, but when there's a demand, we definitely will. There's no doubt about it. Excuse me. Okay, well, listen, Dave, thank you so much, man, for doing this.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
appreciate it. I think Michael Pinto, he said, would trio split fibers be good for air filters?
Yeah, that's a good question.
There's
I can't say I've tried that.
well, there's something for you to think about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Got a couple of other questions, Doug, on the questions area.
Oh, thank you, Nathan. I can't see that. Like I said, I'm on my iPad, so.
David Terry said, are we able to clean mold and toxins out of the microfibers with through a regular wash with borax?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. So
Okay.
the trio split will definitely pull out more of the mold. And, on the surface, it's not getting in there deep. But if we're using a product, like this with the loops, it's going to get down into the grooves, if you will, like on a grout tile type of thing. The one thing about microfiber is, especially trio split, the surface needs to be smooth. So if we're using this on like raw wood, 2x4s, when you have drywall taken out, it's not going to work in a 2x4. It's gonna, all these little prickly splits are gonna grab into the grain. So just so you know, but any type of smooth surface, it's gonna pull out the mold, and yes, it will wash out in the laundry. And you can use any product you want to launder this. Just keep in mind what I said about bleach. And some people have said, I don't care if it lasts 1,000. I'm going to launder the crap out of that thing to make sure everything's out of it. If I get 5 uses out of it, I've won. I'm like, okay, great. So,
Dan says, what chemicals should not be used with microfiber, and should it only be used in one direction for the wiping process?
yeah, great question. So you can use it with any chemical. There's nothing that is bad for it. Even stripper, you can use it with. It's not going to hurt it. The only things hurting microfiber is what I talked about with bleach. So the fiber itself, there's no issue. One thing that you'll hear is quat binding, because of all the splits, but our trio split does not quat bind, if you're familiar with what that is. But quat binding is when a fiber grabs the quat and doesn't release it. Therefore, when we wipe a surface, it doesn't leave on the surface the quat, because it's taking some of the formulation into the fiber. It doesn't come out. That's quat binding. So we don't have quat binding with our fibers.
So that question was asked earlier, ammonium chloride, and you're saying that the difference between your microfiber and maybe what else is out there is this trio split.
Yes.
That's why this doesn't do the binding.
Yeah, and the reason it doesn't quat bind is trio split also releases very well. It captures, doesn't make a lot of sense when you say, you just told me it grabs a lot. When you oversaturate microfiber, it releases. It only has so much power to grab. That's why it cleans out so well when it's in a laundry process and it's going around agitating. When it's saturated, the rinse cycle is by far the most important thing for laundering microfiber. You want to make sure it has enough rinse, and you want to make sure we don't jam the washer so all the stuff looks like this. It needs to be loose so it can agitate around.
Okay. Priscilla said, can these be used in small particle cleaning after remediation and washed together, or would it contaminate the washing machine?
Yeah, it's not going to contaminate the washing machine. You would clean that just like you would with anything else. On the hot water, you'd want to do it in hot water, of course. And you would just want to make sure above the line of the water is cleaned. So I would spray with disinfectant. The top part of the washer, that again is not getting filled up with water, just because you're going to have some airborne particulates. So as long as you're doing that and you're killing what's on the surface above the water line, you would be fine.
Cool. All right.
There was another question there about, do you need to wear gloves when you're using microfiber?
Yeah, I always recommend wearing gloves, just because you don't know what you're going to be picking up. You don't have to. My wife cannot use this without gloves because she's like, oh, it just picks up pores in my skin. It's going to make your skin very dry because the trio split is grabbing moisture out of your skin. So if you're touching the fiber, if you're using this product, you're not touching it. But if you're using a cloth, you are touching it. So in any cleaning, I always recommend using cloth, but just from a standpoint of using it because you have microfiber, no, you don't need to use microfiber or gloves with microfiber. Just know it's going to pick out the moisture in your skin.
There's a question about does microfiber scratch certain surfaces? Is there any study on whether or not it would scratch particular surfaces?
Yeah, another great question. It does not. So we have done studies. We use our product in aquariums, which they have a standard for testing because, of course, you can't scratch whatsoever. Aquarium, that glass is very thick and costs a lot of money. So we've gone through those. I don't have any official documentation for that, but it does not scratch. All of these things feel like it should. It feels like it should because it picks at the pores so much, but they are so microscopic that it's not scratching any type of surface.
So there's a question here about, does a pure wash system negate the effect of microfibers? Pure wash, are you familiar with that product?
Yeah, you mean like the water, ionized water, and
Yeah, ozonated
yes,
water, yes.
yeah. No, it does not. Actually, it works great with it.
Yeah.
I've worked with Tersano, I've worked with Annihilator. Several of them I've done a lot of testing with their microfiber.
Yeah.
It works great with it. So
And
yeah.
how do you dispose of it when the life cycle's done? Is there any special way to dispose of it?
So right now, microfiber is not recyclable. Um, we we have a new product that we haven't launched yet. It's biodegradable is the best terminology
Really?
to use.
Hmm.
Um,
Huh.
Currently, we're only getting 600 laundrings out of that product, but looks the same, feels the same, not quite the same. Still removes 99.9%. It's still trio split, but it's made from recycled water bottles. So as we use 80%, 80 to 20, 80% recycled water bottles, 20% of our regular polyester microfiber. So we combine those together to make a product that you throw in a landfill and in 2 years completely gone.
Wow.
100% biodegradable. So that's the next thing, next evolution of microfiber. Currently, all microfiber is not recyclable. We've looked at chopping it up and putting them through these shredders and making park benches out of them or something. It's just, there's too many mixed materials in here
Yeah.
to melt it back down and do something with it. So right
Gotcha.
now, that is a negative side. But the positive that we show is we're doing that every 3 to 5 years instead of every year as opposed to some others.
Right. Okay, well, listen, thank you so much. It's been a great evening. This has been incredibly educational, Dave. And I think the fun thing to me about this is that now we have a resource when folks are asking about microfiber, and we can give this to them. And hopefully we'll do a really good job of moving product so people will actually use this the way they're supposed to. So thank you so much.
Feel free, reach out with any questions. Be happy to answer them or get on the phone with anyone.
All right, man.
Appreciate
Well,
the
thank
time.
you. Yeah, thank you very much for being here. And thank you, everybody, for attending our Tuesday night training. Be sure and record your continuing education credits. Log into NORMI and be sure and get those credits logged so you can be up to date with your certifications. Have a great evening, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Tuesday night.
Thanks, everyone.